So I was so I was an engineer, then I kind of like started leading a team, and then I started managing engineers. And when I started managing engineers, one thing that happened was like I started writing statements of work, which was, and what you do in there, like one of the things I realized is that basically like every engineer that was around was just a number. So it's like a resource, and your hourly rate is like 100 and whatever something, and that's all you're worth. And that was how we were treated as well. And that was the thing that became my issue.
Yeah.
Because it's like I would meet people all the time, and I would never meet a person and be like, oh yeah, this person looks like they're worth like 50 or like, worth 75. It was always like I would meet a person and I would be like, holy shit, like this person can do so much.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that they can do. And seeing like, like that sort of like that personality just being like compressed down to a number on paper, that thing just like it just messed with my head so bad. Like it became, for me, it almost became like a philosophical problem of sorts. Like I was like me against the man sort of thing. It wasn't even about just me by myself. I was just like, no, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And so that's kind of like where it was like, nah, I just can't do this. And so that's where I quit my job and I ended up going contracting. Because with contracting, it was like, yes, I'm still doing 9 to 5, but I get paid for every single hour that I work for. So that's on the practical side of things. And on top of that, I get to move around. So I can see, like, I mean, I was like, I'm sure, like, this isn't the only way that, like, companies do their thing. Like, there must be other companies that were doing things better. And so contracting allowed me a way to, like, jump around and just test the waters with different companies. That's what took me to Sydney. That's what got me to meet, like, a whole bunch of new people. And so I guess if I was to, like, make that more generic, it would be like, okay, so then the next step, once you realize and you're asking the question, what do I want, is to then start experimenting. And, start testing things out. See what, like, the values approach that I mentioned, yeah, but I feel like it's a bit too theoretical. Like, I don't know if it exactly works that way. Like, I could see the values on paper, like ownership and fun and, like, a few other things, but it doesn't click until you experience it somewhere.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you. Like, I've been through similar exercise where I'm like, what are my values?
Yep.
But I was really just writing down words on paper.
Exactly. And that's
right?
exactly how I felt as well.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, this must be a nice value to have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You sort of like start to think like, you look at a word and you're like, oh yeah, this would be a good one to have. Like, oh yeah, I want to be brave. Yeah. Bring it on.
Leadership.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Yeah, exactly.
Bravery.
Integrity.
Yeah.
I like that voice.
Yeah, thank you. Because, like, when did you know you found the right values?
For me,
how did you know?
For me, I think it was like when I was reading those things, I was like, yeah, like these are the things that I've been asking for at work. Like fun is not something I was asking for specific. I was like, oh, I want more fun in my job description. But it was just the kind of like personality that I had. I was like, yeah, fun makes sense.
Yeah.
Ownership, on the other hand, was the thing that I was sort of like asking for at work. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense as well. But it wasn't until I started like putting myself out there and looking at other roles, and not even that, when I just quit my job, went contracting and started working at a few. So at one point I was doing 5 contracts at the same time. And it was like, when I was working with all of them, I was like, oh shit, like all these companies are different. There's subtle differences, but this one company is the one where I get flexibility of working remotely. I like the people that I work with, they're fun, and they're happy to just give me the whole thing and be like, just get this shit done. We don't care how you do it. So I was like, oh yeah, this kind of matches my kind of thing. So that was a much better way for me to actually realize those values than just, I think having those values there on paper, it does help in terms of like, it gives you like a map of sorts, right? I can give you a map to get to the Auckland domain, but to be able to experience the domain itself, you have to go there.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was the sort of like difference. It's about like, you do the exercise, but then you got to put it into action. And I think that's where like, that's a big part of coaching for me, basically, to first get that insight, but then to also implement the insight, because those are 2 different things.